Hey, if you have 3 minutes, I am going to blow your mind of the difference of compound interest with the stock market versus the real estate market and which one is right for you. I'm going to make this concise so you get the information. It's more important you get the information as opposed to having this long, drawn-out conversation. And I understand there's a lot of different nuances in markets and stock markets and individual stocks versus the entire stock market and neighborhoods. I get all that. But I'm trying to make this concise so you understand the point. So let's talk about what I did. I want to show you this presentation. So if you invested $196,000 in 1993, and I use those dates and figures for a very specific reason. In 1993, there's a stock called the SPY stock, which is the S&P 500 as an ETF, which you could have purchased in 1993. That's the first year it launched. $196,000 is the average price of a home in the city of Toronto in 1993. So I wanted to show you the comparison between if you purchased a home versus purchasing the EFT in 1993. And what the difference is. Well, look, if it was a stock market, it would way outperform real estate. And most people are surprised by that because you think, oh, real estate is probably, it's very expensive in Toronto. And it is, but I'm talking about averages. And in 1993, if you took $196,000, you would have had to put cash down on the house versus cash down in the stock market. Because in the stock market, you can't leverage purchasing stocks. You can't walk into a bank and say, look, give me $50,000. I want to buy $200,000 worth of stocks. They just won't do it. They don't do that. So you had to say, okay, look, it's cash all in the stock market, $196,000, or cash all into a house at $196,000 with no rent, because in this SPY stock, they don't give you a dividend. So I didn't take into consideration rental amounts, assuming you were renting this house out, but just living in it. So if you purchase a house in 1996 and in 2025, the current value is averaged $1.1 million in Toronto, but the current value of your portfolio in the stock market would have been $2.6 million, which is an incredible compounding interest if you think about it. So had you done that in 1993, you would definitely have more net worth had you purchased stock versus a house. But we're talking about investing. If you're investing, you're not living in your stocks and you're not living in your house. You're going to be using someone else's to rent the property, and you're going to be collecting rent over that time. And generally speaking, you can do something called leverage. So leverage happens to be, you could actually buy 4 properties with $196,000 back in 1993, because all you would need is 25% as a down payment per property. And the bank would have given you a loan, which they won't do on the stock market. So that is the real power of real estate investing. So when it comes down to it, using all the same numbers, the same metrics, had you purchased 4 properties with mortgage and rented them out as an investor, your current net worth would be $4.68 million. And you would have collected almost $1 million of rent over that time period. And the cool part about it, that is your net income. I've already taken into consideration taxes and mortgages and all other fees when it comes to owning the properties. So what does that tell you? So the final numbers are, had you bought SPY ETF in 1993 with $196,000, it would have given you 1,200% return on your investment. However, had you purchased real estate as an investment and it would have compounded over the same amount of time, you would have had a return of almost 2,300% at 11.7% compounding annual interest. But you would have also had huge net worth of $4.68 million. You would have had $1 million being collected as rent. And what does all this teach us about wealth building? Well, stocks win without leverage, but the power of real estate is you can use leverage, and you really should, and I recommend it. So real estate wins with leverage and cash flow. Leverage is more assets plus passive income. The best investment, I can't make that decision for you, but I love real estate for all these reasons. I love real estate just for what it is. I can't control the stock market, but maybe you can. I don't know how you do it, but at the end of the day, I think the best investment is real estate. But tell me what you think in the comments below. And if you want more information, something more detailed information, just click on the links below. We'll see you on the inside.